I'm Eric Welander, welcome to my channel. So Apple, like most tech companies, tends to reward you for buying fully into their systems with improved features that you can't really get otherwise. HomeKit Secure Video and HomeKit Doorbells are no exception. With HomeKit Secure Video, you get access to your security footage right inside the Home app, and it's stored securely on iCloud. Getting a HomeKit Doorbell means you can also get notifications of doorbell rings on your Apple TV and HomePods and on all your Apple devices that have the Home app. But if you wanted to get a doorbell that did all of these things, your only option was the Logitech Circle View doorbell here in the US. I reviewed this doorbell when it came out, and it's been on my front door ever since. But with the Logitech doorbell, many users who live in warmer climates or have their doorbell in direct sunlight complain that it overheats and drops from their network frequently. Logitech has released firmware updates that are supposed to address this, but only time will tell if it actually fixes the issues. Then at CES this year, Belkin announced they were going to do a HomeKit Doorbell too. With the overheating issues in the Logitech doorbell, this new option could mean that the wait was finally over for a perfect Apple home doorbell. So when I talked to Belkin and they gave me early access to their doorbell, I was super excited. Now to clarify for you, they sent me this doorbell with no strings attached. I'm going to give you my honest opinion here. If you're considering going and getting one of these doorbells, I put links to their compatibility checkers in the description. They both require wired doorbells with enough voltage to also power a camera. Setup for the Belkin doorbell was pretty easy at first. Wiring the chime to my existing hardware was easier than with the Logitech. The Belkin chime adapter is also small enough to fit inside of my chime box. Belkin also supplies a bypass option if you don't want to use your old-fashioned doorbell chime. But then I went to add the doorbell to HomeKit. I tapped my phone to the doorbell to get the HomeKit code with NFC. It noticed it was a doorbell and had me add it to my HomeKit home. Then it would just sit there on a spinner trying to connect to the doorbell, eventually giving me an unknown error. If I tried to add the doorbell again, it would tell me that it was already added to the home, but it wasn't showing up inside the Home app. Then I tried using other Apple devices to add it to HomeKit. I tried restarting the device and my Wi-Fi network before adding it. I also put out a request for ideas in a HomeKit Slack group I'm in, and I tried a suggestion to temporarily disable 5 GHz on my Eero routers while trying to add the doorbell. I also tried disabling Wi-Fi 6 in what Eero calls legacy mode, and with each option I had the same symptoms. Belkin was also super helpful. They overnighted me a second doorbell to see if I got a lemon. Unfortunately, I got all the same results with the second doorbell. Then I got on a Teams call with some of the people at Belkin working on the doorbell. We also went through similar troubleshooting steps during the call, but I got to the same end result. The one additional step Belkin had me try was to erase the Wi-Fi network from my phone and then reset up the Wi-Fi before trying to add the doorbell. You might remember that I recently reviewed some Linksys Velop mesh routers on my channel. I wanted to see if it was my Eero Wi-Fi that was causing the problem. So I swapped out my Wi-Fi network and tried everything again, but with no success. Someone else I know suggested that maybe my HomeKit database might be corrupted because I had some issues with re-adding another HomeKit Wi-Fi device to my home. I created a second HomeKit home and eventually tore my entire HomeKit home to the ground, but I always got the same errors. Well, I got that other Wi-Fi product working and have since re-added many Wi-Fi devices to my HomeKit network. The Belkin Wemo doorbell continued to fail with both doorbell units. Beyond just trying another Wi-Fi system, there was another error that led me to try using Linksys again for my Wi-Fi. About, let's say, 40% of the time I'd try to add the doorbell, instead of an unknown error, I'd get OSStatus 5 EIO. Thanks to the handy website OSStatus.com, you can look up Apple error codes to see what they resolve to in different Apple frameworks. And if we look for OSStatus 5 within the HomeKit framework, it gives an error for a read-only characteristic for a HomeKit accessory. I didn't think this was the actual issue here, and if we add EIO to the search, it shows an input-output error with the kernel. For what it's worth, I saw a number of forum thread posts researching this error with other products, including Apple's own forums. Some people mentioned that changing Wi-Fi channels seemed to remove the interference and allowed them to successfully start setup. Now, If you watch the setup of any HomeKit Wi-Fi device, you'll notice that your Apple device drops from your Wi-Fi network. As best I can gather as an outside observer, this is so your phone can connect directly to the device and give it instructions of how to get on your Wi-Fi network. Then it jumps back on your Wi-Fi network and waits to see the new accessory there. So you could see how Wi-Fi interference might be a reason why the doorbell would have trouble connecting during maybe some part of the hypothetical setup process. Using an app called Wi-Fi Explorer on my Mac, I noticed that the Wi-Fi channel for the Belkin Wemo doorbell, when it was in pairing mode, was on channel 6 in the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum. All my other Wi-Fi was also on channel 6. I also noticed that when I put my Logitech Circle View doorbell in setup mode, which worked every single time, it happened to be on channel 7. Was all this a coincidence, or maybe actually the source of my problem? Unfortunately, Eero doesn't give you any troubleshooting options to disable or change Wi-Fi channels that I could find. Now, Linksys has a channel finder, which doesn't give you manual control over channels, but it goes through a channel optimization process that will pick the best channels for you. I did this while the Belkin doorbell was in pairing mode, and it changed my 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi network to channel 11. And then I tried again, and it still didn't work. I repeated a number of restarts and other typical troubleshooting steps, but no success. So at this point, I give up. If I keep testing this one doorbell, I wouldn't be able to keep up bringing you more content with other smart home tech, and this video has already been delayed 3 weeks, and I still have a working HomeKit doorbell with the Logitech Circle View. Maybe Belkin will figure out what the actual problem is, and they'll be able to tell me. Maybe someone watching this channel, maybe you, have a brilliant idea of something that I should try that will ultimately fix it. Maybe this is all just a result of bugs in HomeKit that will be fixed in a future software update from Apple. I plan to keep my Belkin doorbell on hand in case one of these dreams come true. If I get to a happy ending in the story, I will certainly update you here on YouTube, but I'm not going to spend the next year of my life trying every which option to troubleshoot this. Either way, I have tremendous respect for Belkin and their willingness to help me through this process. So far, from what I can see on the internet, I'm the only person that's had this issue. There have been a number of other very positive reviews of this doorbell online. Now, as far as how good this doorbell is, for my opinion, I can't say. I was pleased with the setup process, and compared to the Logitech doorbell, the front ringer button is clearly a button, which is way better compared to the glossy black diving board on the Logitech that looks straight out of Johnny Ive's home. Now, if you're planning to get one of these doorbells for yourself, I would recommend plugging it in with micro USB and add the doorbell to HomeKit first before you go through the installation process on your front door. This way, if you happen to hit the same problems that I did, it's a lot easier to back out of than if you've already torn off your existing doorbell. And if you want to check out my video about the Logitech Circle View doorbell, that should be linked somewhere here on the screen. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.